side and let me share the screen. So any issues, any doubts in the last class? Any issues faced while removing the patching? Everything is successful. Anyone tried removing the patching? Okay, so is it successful, Naresh? Did you face any issues? I'm sorry for that. Right, okay, very good. Right, okay, so fine. So today we are going to discuss about the security. Okay, it's a new topic. The next topic after the installations and like after the discussion of system databases and after patching, we are going to discuss about the security concept. Okay, so what is security? What is authentication? What is authorization? What is login? What is user? What is principal? What is securable? Okay, everything we are going to discuss in this security concepts. Okay, mainly this security deals how to give permissions to the users on databases, on tables, like whatever objects they need, how to give permissions on those specific objects. Okay, mainly security deals with how you are going to log into the SQL server, first thing. And the second thing is, okay, in case user is seeking for permissions, user is looking for permissions, you want to access some resources. Okay, so in such case, how can we give access? Okay, how can a user can access a database? How can a user can access a table? So all these things we are going to discuss in security, right? First, let me explain, okay, security, how security will work. Earlier, we have already discussed while discussing Windows authentication and mixed mode SQL Server authentication. We have discussed, okay. So again, we'll discuss again the same concept, okay. So let me open diagram. Do we have B39, B38 diagram? Okay. Just a minute, okay. Yeah. So this is the old diagram, right? So earlier, I think last to last week we have discussed about this setup, okay? Like how to do the MSTSC, what is meant by RDP, remote desktop, what is meant by VPN, okay? How it is important, everything we discussed in the last to last class, right? So today we'll discuss about the okay security, okay? So let me draw some servers, okay? Imagine this is your organization, okay? This is your organization. In this organization, okay, you have server, Windows server, right? Yes, okay, this is your Windows server. Okay, so in this Windows server we have SQL server installed in this machine. Okay, let me check whether we have diagram for SQL server. right. Just a minute, guys. Okay, so that's fine. Let me remove this. Let me remove this. Right. Okay. So this is my Windows server. In this Windows server, we have installed SQL Server. Right. Just a diagram. Okay. So earlier we have discussed about the Windows authentication and SQL Server authentication. What is meant by Windows authentication? What is meant by SQL Server authentication? What is the difference between these two? Right. So in the Windows authentication, again, if anyone wants to connect to the SQL Server, what should be there in the SQL Server? If someone wants to connect to the SQL Server, what should be there? Imagine, okay, so for example, Sudarshan wants to connect to the SQL Server database. What should be there in case Sudarshan wants to connect to the SQL Server?
Permission.
Permission.
Logins.
Very good. Login should be there. Okay. So during installation, we are going to select one option called add current user option, right? So what will happen once you click on that add current user option? Can anyone tell me? Once I click on add current user option during installation, what will happen? A login will be created in the SQL Server, right? So remember, guys, in case I gave you the example of bank pass, not bank kit. Once you go to the organization, once you join in the organization, initially in the first day itself, they are going to, sorry, and the first day itself, they are going to provide you the bank dummy kit. Okay, they will give you the bank kit. You will have all the account numbers and all. You will have all the credentials and all, net banking credentials and all. But immediately, if you are trying to log into the login with the same credentials, it won't work. Why? Because later, after 2 or 3 days, the account will be activated with your name. Then only the username and password will work, right? So, in case you want to log into your net banking, a login should be there on behalf of you. Then only you can log into your net banking. If there is no login is created with your user ID, okay, then you cannot log into net banking, right? So in case you want to log in, okay, first of all, from bank side database people, DBS, they are going to create a login for you. Okay, they are going to create a login for you. Then only whatever credentials that you are entering into the net banking, first they will verify the username, and after that, once username is successful, it will verify the password also. Once both are successful, then only it will allow you to log into the net banking. If you give wrong password and all, it won't allow. Why? Because the username and password you gave is not matching with each other. So it won't allow you to log into your net banking. In the same way, if anyone wants to connect to the SQL server, usually they cannot connect to the SQL server. What should be there? A login should be there to connect to the SQL server. In case Sudarshan wants to connect to the SQL server, okay, a login should be created on behalf of Sudarshan. Then only Sudarshan can log into the SQL server. Login means what? Okay, let me start this machine. Logins means what? Simply you will open Management Studio, right? You will click on that connect button, right? Once you click on that connect button, it will show you a pop-up will open, and it will show you the database engine, and you can see Windows authentication, SQL Server authentication. And once you click on Windows authentication, then once you click on connect button, automatically you can connect. What it means? Even though you choose Windows authentication, what is the difference between Windows and SQL authentication? Okay, so Windows authentication, what are the credentials that you are using in the Windows level? Okay, see here in this diagram, usually to log into this Windows server remotely, you will enter some credentials, right? Then only you can log into this Windows machine first, then you can connect to the SQL instance, right? If you want to connect to the SQL instance, there are two ways. One way is directly log into the Windows server. From there, you are going to connect to the SQL server. That is one way. Second way is usually in the organization, okay, in the user's laptop, management studio will be installed, right? Let me show you that as well. Say for example, a user is trying to connect to the SQL server. Okay, direct way is you have to log into the Windows server, and then you have to open management studio there. And usually dbs what they will do, they will directly log into the Windows server first. They will open ssms here, and they will connect to the instance, SQL instance. We have already discussed this point as well. Okay, other people, other users and all, what they will do, ssms will be installed in their local laptop. Open SSMS, and then they will connect to the for the directly rdp to the Windows machine, will log into the Windows machine, and will connect to the SQL server using SSMS in this Windows machine. That is direct way of connecting to the SQL server. What is indirect way? How users will be connected to the SQL server? Management Studio, the client will be installed in their laptops. Once they open their laptop, they will simply type SSMS in their laptop. It will prompt you for the server name. They will provide the server name. They will choose SQL Server authentication. Then it will ask you for the username and password. They will enter that username and password. Then SQL Server will verify that username and password is a part of the SQL Server logins list or not. If the username is part of the logins list, it will verify whether the user gave correct password or not. If the user gave correct password, then only that user can connect to the SQL Server database. This is another way. Okay, so client will be there in the user's laptop, but dbs, how they are going to connect? They will directly log into the Windows machine. There they are going to open a sub. We can also connect like this. Okay, we can also connect like this, but usually what we are going to do is we'll directly rdp to the Windows machine, then we are going to connect to the SQL server. Clear? This is clear, right, everyone? Any issues, any doubts here? Right? In case if someone wants to connect to the, say for example, some X user is there, X user directly connect to the SQL server, he cannot connect. Why? Because there is no login created for the X user. A login should be created for the X user, and we have to give some password to the X user. Then only that X user can connect to the database once we just gave username and password to him. It is our responsibility. Whenever we create any user, new user and all, we have to give the password also to him. We know his password for the first time, but there is an option called, okay, password policy. Whenever he log in with the default password, immediately the SQL server will prompt you to change the password. I guess you are all having experience. Okay, whenever you are logging to the net banking with the default password, in the next login, once the login is successful, once the login attempt is successful, in the next screen itself, it will ask you to change the password. The default password doesn't work. In the same way, even though we know the password of the user, if we give the same password to the user, once he logged in with the same password in the SQL server, the next screen he will get to change the password. It will ask you to change the password immediately. So the user will change the password immediately. So we don't know his password. Only while creating, we can create a default password and we can give it to him. Later, immediately it will ask user to change the password. So the user will put different passwords. So there is no way of hacking other passwords and all, other users' passwords and all. Right? Any issue is there with my voice? Is it okay? Fine.
Clear, sir. Clear, sir.
Okay, that's fine. In case if you have any issues, just let me know. Okay. Right. So like this it is going to work. So we have to be very careful. Okay, how the login will work, what is meant by login, what is meant by user. Okay, everything you have to understand properly. Security is a kind of a confusion topic. Okay, so you have to understand properly. In case if you have any doubt, just immediately let me know. Okay, don't wait for it. Okay, again, you can ask me at any time, you can stop me and you can ask me. Okay, don't keep that, okay, doubt and all in your brain, and don't wait for it. User laptop, how much capacity of RAM and ROM should be need? Nagesh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, usually these laptops will be provided by the organization. Okay, so organization will give you the laptop, right? This laptop will give by the organization, right? So usually these laptops depends upon the organization capacity. If it is a big organization, okay, the laptops that they are going to give with the 16 GB RAM and 150 to 250 GB hard disk. That's it. Okay, so that is user laptop. Usually once you go to the organization, they will provide you an office laptop, right? That laptop RAM should be more. Okay, 16 GB RAM will be there. Usually, usual cases, but depends upon the organization. Some organization maybe they can give 8 GB RAM also, 12 not 12 GB, 8 GB. After that 16 GB only. So usually user laptops RAM's capacity will be 16 GB, 8 to 16 GB, and they are going to give you the hard disk of around 150 GB to 250 GB like that. They won't give 1 TB, 2 TB and all. Okay. Okay. Let me check. I'm recording the session, Nanda. Yeah. Okay. So, right, this is how the security will work. In case, what will happen if you choose Windows authentication? Why it won't ask password? Let me log into the server first. And this was started, right? The machine is started, right? Okay. So, whenever you choose Windows authentication, why you don't ask password? Can anyone tell me? We have already discussed the same thing. Why you don't ask the password once you choose Windows authentication?
Already we have login, sir.
Sorry.
We already add the current user credentials.
Okay, we have added current user credentials, so it won't ask password. What if we don't add that particular current user? Okay, say for example, okay, so I just installed the SQL Server. Okay, during the installation, I have added my account. Add current user means my account is going to add, right? Right. So I just added my account. But when you choose Windows authentication, it won't ask your username and password. Why it won't ask your username and password?
Default username and password is administrator.
What is that? Don't mean like there is no default username and password in the organization. You will have a separate set of username and password. Okay. They don't give you the username and password. Different password, different username. They don't give you, like, they don't give you a default username and password. You will have your specific username and password. Might be they may give you different account. Okay. Depends upon the organization. I told you, right? Elevated account will be there. They will create a special account for you. And the one which you are using to log into your work laptop will be different. The one which you are using to log into servers is different. Elevated accounts will be there. So should be elevated account or different account, but they don't give you any default username and password. Okay, so security wise it's not good. Anyone can log in with the default username and password. No, that is not the answer. We have already discussed the same point. When you choose Windows authentication, it don't ask username and password. Why? In such case, how it is going to log into the SQL server? If someone log into the Windows machine, can directly connect to the SQL server? It is not asking the username and password, right? So on behalf of me, someone logged into the Windows machine with his name. Can he connect to the SQL server? You all know the answer. Okay, you all know the answer. This point we have already discussed. In case if anyone wants to connect to the SQL server, what should be there in the SQL server? Login should be there. Very good. A login should be there. So in case if anyone logged into my Windows machine, okay, so I just logged into, even Windows people also can log into the Windows machine, right? Windows people also can log into the Windows machine due to like maintenance activities will be there, patchings will be there. So they also can log into the Windows machine directly. So they can connect to my SQL server. Okay, so I guess you forgot that point. Okay, so server type is database engine and server name you are going to provide, and you can see authentication type, two types of authentication, mainly two types of authentication. One is Windows authentication. Okay, if you choose Windows authentication, it won't ask any username and password. Okay, you can connect to the SQL server, right? So let me go with the SQL server authentication. Again, click on connect button. and let me choose SQL Server authentication. Now it is asking for username and password. Now I have to provide the username and password. Okay, again, those who are in the list of logins, okay, only these people can connect to my SQL Server. Whenever I click add current user, usually if I just logged in with administrator, an administrator account will be created in the SQL Server. That's why administrator can connect to the SQL Server. Even a Windows admin is there with local admin privileges. Any Windows guy is directly logged into my Windows machine. If he is trying to connect to the SQL Server, he cannot connect. Why? Because see here, even though if you choose Windows authentication, a username will be there, computer name / administrator. Don't think like it won't consider username, it will consider the username. Then why it is not asking the password? Why? Because usually while logging into this Windows machine, I gave this administrator username and I gave the administrator password during the login into the OS, right? During the login to the Windows machine. Means in the Windows level, I am a verified user, successfully verified user. It is asking me to give username and password while logging into the Windows machine. Okay, by that time itself, it was verified my username and password successfully. As I gave the correct username and password, then only it allows me to log into the Windows machine. So as Windows level security is more when compared to the SQL Server authentication, SQL Server security. So as I am successfully verified user in the Windows level, next time it won't ask password. That means don't think like anyone who can log into the Windows machine can connect to my database engine. No, that's wrong. Username will be there. This is the username. This username is existed here. You can see here. Okay, so actually what happened is early yesterday we just changed the computer name, right? So login name not yet changed. Okay, so you can see here. So this username is already there in the SQL Server. That's why I'm able to log into the SQL Server. Okay, but why it is not asking the password? In the Windows level, I have already provided the correct password, so I just log into the Windows machine. So next time while connecting to the SQL Server, it will believe the OS level security, so it don't ask the password again. But if you choose SQL Server authentication, what happened? It will again ask the username and password. Usually other users will be connected to the SQL Server using SQL Server authentication. So they every time they have to provide the username and they have to provide the password also. Every time they have to provide the username and they have to provide the password also. Is it clear, guys? Any issues, any doubts? Let me know how authentication will work. You know, right now, at least you have some basic idea, right? So let me explain what is meant by authentication, what is meant by authorization. Okay, so imagine, just a minute, guys. Right. Imagine this is a shopping mall. Okay, imagine this is a shopping mall. Okay, and in this shopping mall, lot of shops are there. Okay, different shops are there. You are all having access. You can go to any shop. Okay, these are the different shops. Right. These are the different shop. You can access to any shop and you can go to the shop. Right. And let me go to this. Okay. So shopping mall will have power rooms, right? So this is the power room, which is there in the basement. Okay. So now a user came to the shopping mall. Imagine he's a user. He came to the shopping mall and he just go to the shops and he just completed shopping. User is having access to all the shops. Why? Because shopping malls are there to welcome the users only, right? So he can go to the shops and he can do a shopping, or even though he can do a window shopping, just he is not buying anything also, he can simply go and check it, what is there, what are the things are there. Okay, so here if you see, this is a power room, right? Everyone can log into this power room, everyone can go inside this power room.
No.
No, right? Who can go inside this power room?
The authorized persons.
Only authorized persons can go. What is meant by authorization?
Maintenance.
Yes.
They have only permissions.
Authorization means having access on some resources is called authorization. If you see on the power room door, you can see in the organization, or else if you go to any shopping malls and all, on some doors you can see authorized entry only. What it means? Those who are authorized persons, they only can enter into the particular power room. Not everyone. Those who are visiting the shopping mall, everyone cannot go inside the power room, right? Only those who are working, they only can go inside. Even though that sweeper cannot go inside the power room, might be he can go, other persons cannot go inside the power room. Why? Because he is not an authorized person to access the power room. Okay, authorization means having access on some resources is called an authorization. Clear? Authorization means having access on some resources is called an authorization. Not all persons can access all the resources. Okay, not all persons can access all the resources, depends upon their requirement. Electricians are there, they have to access the power room, so that they are the authorized persons to enter into the power room. In the same way, in the organization, server room will be there. Who are eligible to go inside the server room? Those who are maintaining the servers, they are only eligible to go inside the server room. Not other people can go inside the power room. Okay, not a security guard, he cannot go inside the power room. Why? Because he's not an authorized person to access the server room. His duties are bounded. Okay, and other person's duties are bounded. So those who are having authorization on that particular resources, they only can enter into that particular room. In the same way, authorization means having access on some resources is called an authorization. Right? Imagine he is a, what is this, actor. Okay, fine. So imagine he's an electrician now. Imagine he's not a user, he's an electrician now. He has an access on this power room now. He's an authorized person to access the power room. Right? So sometimes if you go inside that restricted rooms, you will have different ways to enter into the restricted rooms. Okay, sometimes you have to flash your ID card to enter into the restricted room. Sometimes you have to give your biometric to enter into the restricted room. Sometimes you have to insert your card to enter into the restricted room. Sometimes you have to type a pin or password to enter into the restricted room. Okay, again, having access on resources is called an authorization. Okay, what is meant by authentication? This is an authorization. Having access on some resources is called an authorization. What is meant by authentication then? Verifying your username and password is called authentication. Right? Now, okay, once this electrician is having access on this power room, how he is going to enter into this power room? Might be by flashing his ID card. That is called, that flashing is there, right? That is called authentication. Might be by entering a password, then only the door will open. The entering password is there, right? He's entering his password, right? That is called authentication. Okay, having access on resources is called an authorization. Verifying the username and password is called an authentication. Clear? That's why if you see here, we can call authentication here. Windows authentication, how you are entering into the server. SQL Server authentication, how you are entering into the server. Authentication means verifying your username and password is called an authentication. Okay.
Shanmugh, small doubt.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. As a DPA in organization, we will be giving a login name and password to log in the server, or
Yes. We will use a
okay,
separate
then
login. You will have separate. So we don't use SQL Server authentication. Okay. So we will use
okay,
Windows authentication only. But Windows
okay.
authentication means how